Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. In this build demonstration, I'm going to go over Spread Heavy Bowgun. This build is focusing on shooting spread point blank into a monster's face. It's pretty dang strong, but it does have its downsides like most builds. It's very immobile, like walking in hummus. You're going to have to rely on either very good positioning with your slow walk speed, timely rolls with the heavy bowgun's very long roll, or rock steady mantle. The other issue you're going to have is reloading. The time to reload can be very slow, so you're going to have to time those properly so you don't get hit between reloads. A major perk of running Spread Heavy Bowgun is that it staggers really well, but you need to make sure that you time the shots properly. Most monsters will stagger with 2 to 3 shots to the face in single player, and if I can get a hit during the stagger animation, great, but I try to make sure that I don't cause another stagger while it's already in its previous animation. That will reset the stagger threshold and waste it. It takes a bit of practice to learn how many hits it takes to stagger the monster with what you're using, but don't worry about that right away. Let's go over the ammo. Now obviously this is a spread build, but we have some wiggle room. Spread 2s have a motion value of 7x5, and spread 3s are 8x7. They both have the same critical distance. These are going to be your primary ammos. Obviously there is nothing special here, you just touch your barrel to the face of the monster and you pull the trigger. Your backup ammo is going to be determined by the weapon of your choice. A few heavy bowguns can load Wyvern Shot, which is great from preventing a monster from fleeing, but only use it as that. It takes a long time to reload and fire, and it's really not that useful outside of that or waking up a sleeping monster. Wyvern's Heart and Wyvern Snipe, despite not being focused on this build, are still very useful in the right situations. I like the Wyvern's Heart on a downed monster, and Snipe to initiate a fight from afar, if I can. If your bowgun can load Para 2s or Sleep 2s, those are great for getting in status if you need to. I wouldn't recommend focusing on any skills or extra combine materials towards them though. For weapons, you have 3 pretty solid options. The Great Jagras Heavy Bowgun is great for starting out, and works really well even at the endgame. It loads 6 spread 2s, or 8 with MO+. There's basically no recoil, and it's got good reload speeds, so there's no downside here. The Great Jagras also has the added bonus to be able to use Para 1s if need be, and it can also use the non-elemental boost decoration, which is a free 10% more raw, and it can be upgraded twice with augments. Next up is the Anjanath Heavy Bowgun. This one loads the same amount of spreads as the Great Jagras, but has higher raw at the cost of some affinity. This heavy bowgun can also load Wyvern Shot, Para 1s, Sticky 1s and 2s, but cannot use the non-elemental boost decoration. Again, it's got 2 augment slots here. I would definitely throw Affinity at it. The added draw from the Anjanath gun is solid, and the damage it can output can compete with spread 3s at times. And finally, Nergigante's Heavy Bowgun. This is my primary choice, especially for spread 3s. It can load 4 with MO+, which I highly recommend that you use. It doesn't need any recoil or reload mods to work properly like most other heavy bowguns that can load spread 3s. And it has Wyvern Shots, Sleep 2s, and Para 2s. Though they have really heavy recoil. This heavy bowgun packs some serious power, but only has access to 1 augment slot, which isn't a huge deal. With either of these weapons, you don't need to use recoil or reload mods, and you should stack 3 close range mods. These mods add a 15% bonus to damage while at close range, and it envelops all of spread's critical distance, so there is no real downside here. This is where we get most of our damage from spread. Without it, spread is just not strong enough. Your specialized tools of choice can vary quite a bit with this build. I use Impact Mantle on some monsters for those juicy KOs, Rock Steady for heavy hitting monsters that I can't really dodge, and Evasion Mantle for the extra boosted raw and evasion frames. I use Health Booster when I run Rock Steady to keep me planted, and Affinity Booster for that extra DPS if I need it. I really enjoy this build because despite its simplicity, it's got a lot of variety. For armor sets, there's nothing too fancy here. Low rank is a typical offensive one that I've shared many times already. Here's the decoration list set that I've used in low rank. It's nothing fancy, there's nothing much to do in low rank anyway. Once you get into high rank though, you got some pretty decent options. Here's a set I made at the near end of the story with no decorations outside that 1 attack decoration you get from the story. Weakness Exploit, Spread Up, and Maximum Might are amazing skills, and Weakness Exploit and Maximum Might are pretty much staples of most sets anyways. Get the Lavasioth legs ASAP for that spread up, because it's a 10% bonus to your damage, and which is the largest you're going to get from one skill that isn't Weakness Exploit. You can gem in other skills to your liking like Critical Boost, Attack Boost, and Critical Eye. And here's my current spread 3 heavy bowgun set. which uses MO up, and it's pretty much required for Nergigante's heavy bowgun. But outside that, it's pretty typical DPS boosting stuff. I would prioritize crit over raw just because I like consistency, so the closer to 100% crit I can get, the better. Here's a list of skills to be looking for when building a spread set, though by now you should pretty much be aware of what's required. The armor is pretty much the same that everyone else uses, because there's very limited good DPS armors to make. It's best to focus on the skills using what decorations you have, rather than try to RNG grind for the decorations you don't have yet. Just make what you can, it can work without decorations, so anything extra is just an added bonus. This build can manage some pretty decent clear speeds, and it definitely takes more work than other weapons though. But the sound and impact of spread totally justifies it for me. I love that sound. Anyway, that's all I have for this build. It's a really simple one, so there's not much to go over. You just point it at the monster and pull the trigger. Alright, well thanks for watching as always guys, and good luck out there hunters.